This is Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Hello. I was wondering, and that was lovely, by the way. And I was wondering if you could describe or explain what you mean by going within.
That's a really great question because what it really means is what we do with our attention, what we're focused on. So you might think of attention as a flashlight, right? So there's so many objects around you, but with a flashlight, you can point it at anything that you want to. And so attention is, or awareness, which is similar, not exactly the same. But to me, attention is the focusing of awareness on something. So our normal attention is on everything in the world, people, events, things we have to do, take care of, places we have to go, our attention. But when I say bring your attention within or focus within, it means take that attention, your focus, that flashlight, and turn it inside this being and look within and feel what's actually going on here. So it's almost like shutting out the world in a way and just experiencing what's inside you, the feelings and emotions and thoughts that are inside this body. Before we begin to focus inward, it feels like the outside exterior world outside of us and it's all just one intermingled mixture of experiences and me being a person and living in the world. But when we start to bring our attention inward, we start to recognize what's actually going on here. And as we do that, we begin to notice thoughts, feelings, sensations in the body and in the mind, and feelings maybe in the solar plexus area. We begin to notice all this activity. And so what today's meditation was about was to go even beyond that and look at the space within which all this activity is occurring, the space within which everything that we know arises and moves about in. So it's just bringing attention to something that normally we don't bring attention to. We look away from, we ignore it. We're so caught up and almost hypnotized by the activities of experience in the world that we don't stop to look back and shine the light back on ourselves and ask ourselves, who's experiencing all this? Who am I really? Who am I before I add this, that, and whatever? And the beauty of this true self-discovery, the knowing of our own self, is that as it turns out, and this is something we all have to experience for ourselves, but as it turns out, everything that we are looking for in the world, what are we looking for in the world? Some form of happiness, peace, contentment, be able to rest, joy, whatever we're looking for in the world is our own nature. The nature of being is peace and joy and happiness. So ultimately, it requires no effort to be abiding in that place. But initially, especially when we're in the earlier stages of this understanding, we have to do the work necessary to disentangle ourselves from the content of experience and begin to bring our awareness back to ourself and start to discover who am I before all that, without all that. That's a very big answer to your question. I don't know if that's what you were asking, but I hope that serves you in some way.
Yeah, that was great. Just to compare of my thinking of beingness and self, um, I understand that to be boundaryless and just unlimited in space. So to think of going inside feels um, the kind of antithesis of
Mm-hmm. Well,
being.
good. Yeah,
Does
then
that make
don't.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Don't go inside. There really is no inside. I was just speaking to whatever relative level of
Okay.
understanding you might have. There is no inside. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
yeah,
I'm not saying it's either is right or wrong. I'm just comparing, I guess, and my mind is comparing.
yes. And minds do that. So truth is silent. Anything we
Mhm.
speak of it is a step removed from it. But what we're talking about when we talk about our being infinite, boundless, and infinite doesn't mean it goes on forever. It means it has no location. It has no boundaries. But whenever we're speaking of these things, understanding them with the mind is always a limitation because the mind is finite. The mind cannot comprehend the infinite. It's not capable of that. You cannot see with your ears. Your ears are for hearing. The mind renders the infinite finite. It turns it into an object or a thing. It's never that. So it's just this. That's why only with the surrender and the letting go, and crazy things like let go of all you know, let go of everything that's in your brain and your head, just empty, empty, empty. That can feel scary, maybe, or too much, or whatever. But ultimately, all the ideas and formulations and things we've understand, while have served us to a point, then become the hindrance because anything that the mind understands is just a finite, limited understanding that can serve us to a point and then has to be relinquished. So, most importantly, Debbie and everyone, excuse me, stay with your own experience. Trust your own experience. Trust your own knowing. The best I can do, the best I can hope for is to be a pointer, a guide. There's nothing that I see. There's nothing in me there is just one shared being. So go with your own experience. We are each on our own path. We are each on our own unfolding. There really isn't a path, but there appears to be. So just trust yourself and trust your own knowing. So I'm glad you brought that up about being infinite. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. And